Well, hi everybody, and welcome to our next key in the Tarot series, which is key number 4, the Emperor. Now, key number 4, the Emperor. He is obviously looks like a soldier and a ruler sitting there on his cube. He's actually the consort of the Empress, and he didn't really have much of a use and until after the Empress was brought out. This is why he follows it, because he didn't have anything to rule. So as the consort of the Empress, he is now going to rule the prodigy. Because remember, the Empress sat there, she was pregnant with ideas and concepts. So now these concepts and ideas have been brought out back into the conscious mind. We're back in the conscious mind with the Emperor, and he has something to work on. Now, the Emperor is reason and sight. So basically insight. So everything that you get from an idea from the subconscious mind has to go through the process of reason. So just to say, catch up is how we got here so far. We started off with the Fool, or the universal power. Then we moved on to the Magician. The Magician draws down the power into self-consciousness, and passes it through himself with goals and ideas into the High Priestess, which is subconsciousness. Subconscious works on the ideas, and they send them back into the nature garden of the Empress. And now the Emperor is going to deal with these ideas on the physical plane. We're going to be looking at it through the pure emerald tablets of Hermes Trismegistus. As what is above is as that which is below, and that which is below is as that which is above. So we're going to look on the macro yourself and the micro level is yourself, and the macro level, the overall environment. Reason is given to you on this physical plane for a reason. It helps you to survive, and it's very important that you use reason. This is where a lot of people fail, because many deficient metaphysical systems leave this point out. And people go off on a tangent with things that really maybe they shouldn't be doing. They get themselves tangled, they get themselves in a mess. So reason is an important factor, which I say is often missed out. It's a bit like we have the ideas. Now, if you think about maybe in a company where you have a design department and a marketing department, and they come up with a whole plan for design and marketing of a new product. Well, that doesn't go into fruition until it goes to the board of directors to look it over and to say whether, give it the final mark. So the Emperor, is your board of directors, so to speak. In the outer world, there are forces telling you what to do, telling you what to think, telling you how to behave, and you can use the same process of putting these ideas and thoughts through reason, through sight, through insight, yourself. So if you do that, then you can decide for yourself whether these things are good or are things for reason. Look into the principle. Whenever you look at something, look into it. I've said it before, look into it deeply, get right in there. Look at the principal factor that's basing the whole thing. Look behind the veil of shoddy appearances. But you respond always on the micro level. You change what you do. Because you can't change other people, that's futile gesture. But you can change what you do in response to what your reason tells you. But more about all this later. So now we're going to move on to the symbolism of the card. The first thing is the Hebrew letter which is hey, and this just means window. And this follows on perfectly from Daleth, the door, and Beth, the house. But for the window, we can see out. We said that one of the meanings of the Emperor is sight. So now with the window, we can see out, and we can also see in. And reason has a lot to do with seeing, doesn't it? Because you can reason something out, and then you maybe say, I see. And this is the fundamental of the card. The number is 4. Remember, we started off with a note, and then we had 1 with the Magician as an idea was put forward. The High Priestess was 2. And then we had an actual figure with the Empress, because she brought things into the world. She manifested things into a triangle. And now we have 4. And 4 is order, and it is reason. It's 4 square. Another way of looking at it is the Empress is 3 and the Magician is 1. So add what the Magician wanted, and what came out of the Empress, the end result is 4. And now the Emperor has to look at this result and work on it. For the Theosophical tradition, if you add up what we've got so far, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, this is 10. And that reduces down to 1. And 1 is the Magician. Now this is telling you here that the Emperor is self-consciousness, so he is also the Magician. Because the Magician was self-consciousness. So the Emperor is the Magician on another level. And it is also, therefore, as it's self-consciousness on this plane, it is also you, if you're looking at the card. So it is you as the Emperor and as the Magician. You'll see that the card is red. Now this is Mars, because you can see that our Emperor is a warlike chap. So Mars, the fighting red of action. But Mars actually rules over Aries, and that's the fundamental aspect of this card, because you'll see on the side of his cube, you've got the ram's head of Aries, also on his shoulder, and right on top of his helmet, you'll see the same thing again. The triangles here on his helmet are also 12. This is for the same reason as the Empress had stars on her helmet and the girdle around the Fool's belt. And the colours are red and gold, which are active in Aries. He holds a sceptre. This is just representing the fact that he's the consort of the Empress. Now this is an important part, the globe here. Now the globe is dominion. It's red, so it's Mars energy. So it's the energy and force, energy and forceful dominion. This letter here, that's on it, the lines represent Tav. Now Tav is the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it represents Saturn, and Saturn is restriction and constriction. But you'll notice on that this Tav is turned upside down. So what we're talking about here is it's inverted, and therefore the dominion of Saturn has been reversed, which means freedom. So this is a fantastic symbol of freedom, and sometimes that's really what you need. His hair is white, and so is his beard, and he only has one eye. Now this is representative of the Ancient of Days, a very, very old symbol. So the one eye is representative of the fact that you only ever see really half of what the symbolization represents of the life power. You can only ever really appreciate half of it whilst you're on this physical plane. The body shape is fascinating. You'll notice that from the top of the helmet, around his arms area, represents a triangle. Okay, so this is saying that he's associated with the Empress and the 3, and below you see his legs. This is saying 4 because the legs are crossed. But if you put the two together, the triangle and the cross, you get the chemical symbol for sulfur. Sulfur being incredibly important in that it burns away, it can be used as a force to burn away negative energies. You see the stream floats in the background there. Now we know now, don't we, that this stream is the same stream that began in the ripples in the High Priestess's robe, and so it was these ideas that flowed out of the subconsciousness. It went through the Empress, watering her garden with fertile ideas, and now it's below the Emperor, providing him with things to work on. The armour is violet, and again this is reversal of contradiction, so it's basically meaning freedom. And then we have the mountains in the background. These are red, so again we're looking at the Mars energy there, and they're an indigenous rock. Now, the indigenous rock will, as the water flows through it, will trickle down through streams, filling up the stream of the High Priestess, filling up subconsciousness and moving into the physical plane of self-consciousness, which is us now. So where does this leave us? How do we interpret this? What do we know about the Emperor now? Well, we know that he's the consort of the Empress. We know that he's a warrior, that he can burn down illusion. And we can look at it on a micro level, and we can look at it on a macro level. So firstly, on the micro level, we can look deep into ideas, the ideas that are supplied to us through subconsciousness into the Empress. We can look at the Empress's garden, the fertility there. We can look at all the messages and the ideas that have been sent to us that appear in our minds from subconsciousness. And we can look into them, dig down into the basic principle of these messages. What are they telling us? We need to look beyond the superficial appearances and get right down into the nitty-gritty. This is where a lot of people fail, as I said before, because a lot of very basic metaphysical practices don't look at this, leave this out totally, and that's where people get themselves into all sorts of predicaments. So what you do, you feed through the divine, through your divine given reason. Your reason is here for your capacity to reason is here for a reason, and so use it. And then you can look at whatever the results of this is, and you can decide: am I going to put this into action, or am I not? Am I going to implement this practice? I mean, for instance, now I've just had my 58th birthday, so maybe it's too late to say I think I'll become a doctor. And if this idea came to my head, I would think about it, reason. I think, no, that's a bit silly. But lots of other ideas come, and they're stimulating, and these are the ideas that you need to jump onto. Always start small, do everything in a small way, and then your subconscious will pick up what you're doing, and it'll help you. Because as I said before, God helps those who help themselves. Very, very true. Now, looking on the macro level, or the outer world, government, media, and other people are behaving whatever way they behave, but doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do the same thing. So the idea here is that on this level, you listen to everything and you think about it. You put it through your divine given reason. Look into it, as I've always said, look into it, dive into it, right into it. Look at the basic principle of what you're being told. Do you agree with it or do you not agree with it? Are you going to go along with it or not? But don't just follow the herd. Very, very important. Don't just look at superficial sight. Have real insight. Put it through your reason. Now, what this is all about really is helping you build wisdom. So we're looking at reason, sight, gives you insight, which is going to lead to wisdom. Build up your own wisdom faculty. Now, wisdom begins, of course, by calling things by their true names. That's an old Chinese proverb, but it's very, very true. Because to know something's true name, you have to have done what I said and dug right down to the principle of the matter. Ask what you're going to do with the time that you've been given. You've been given a whole bunch of time here. So what are you going to do with it? Why are we going to use this time? Have you got something that you really want to achieve? What are you going to do with it? Crowley, Aleister Crowley said, do what thou wilt be the whole of the law. And he's got into a lot of criticism through that because it sounds very selfish. But it isn't selfish, because thou wilt is your will, your destiny in life. Your will is what you're going to do with the time you're given. And as long as you know that, imagine the tree of life. We're down here at the bottom of Malkuth, and you've got Cather at the top. You know which direction you're going. So if you fend off to one direction, bring yourself back to the middle pillar. Go to the other pillar, the left-hand pillar, bring yourself back. If you do find yourself wandering off, don't castigate yourself. Don't give yourself a hard time. Just wander back to the central pillar, and you'll carry on. And that's the way life goes. If you have a will, if you know where your life is heading. There are lots of drawbacks on the way, so you have to look into yourself. This is so much important, because wisdom and insight are always contrary to mass opinion. You can see that as you walk down the street these days. No need to say why, I'm sure we all know. Plato himself said that those who see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses. So you're living your own life. Don't be influenced. But we're lucky we have the tarot to guide us, and we have the ancient wisdom tradition, which is built into the tarot. So it's the age-old wisdom that we're just going to follow. So where does this leave us? Well, the Emperor himself is a warrior. He's sitting peacefully. He's ruling peacefully, sat on his cube. He's not stressed out, is he? He's just sat there ruling with peace and with relaxed attitude. So there's no effort required. It's like nature. You watch the ebb and the flow of nature. Times comes, time go, weeks, months, years. It just flows without any effort. Plants grow, they don't stress, they just grow. So tune in to that nature cycle, the nature cycle. Tune into it. Know what you want in life. Know what your future looks like, and you should just flow in the same way. Think about the globe, the inverted tower we were speaking about. Saturn can get in your way, but we've inverted Saturn. By looking at the Empress, you can see the dominion of the globe and the inverted Saturn. This is going to set us free from all restrictions. So whenever you exercise true reason, when you've looked into something, you've used your reason, you exercise this true reason, this true insight, you're employing there the same power which defined the universe right at the beginning. Remember we said that all the power that ever was or will be is here now. So tune into that cycle of that energy, the true energy. And finally, I can say another of the wisdom tradition sayings, which is filled with the understanding of its perfect law. I am guided moment by moment along the path of liberation. Be the Emperor.